Good morning. Welcome, 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 welcome. It is a great joy to meditate together. We're meditating part of our series, The Entire Human Race, which is inspired by teachings from Olive Schreiner and Howard Thurman. So Howard Thurman was deeply inspired by Olive Schreiner, meditated on her teachings his entire adult life, and shared her teachings his entire adult life. And they both present just sort of the whole human race and how do we live the whole human race. And so in one way, it's that question of each of us is here. We're engaged in the whole human race as we're living this human life. And so in one question, it's that. It's how do I live this human lifetime the best that I possibly may. But it's also how may I live in consciousness, in awareness, in fullness in relation to other humans, in relation to this whole human race, in relation to all y'all, as they say in some parts of the country, right? So, and the topic today is look at the one. And the basic premise, if you just want like one phrase, is that when we look at the one, we will always receive guidance. We will always be able to, I'm borrowing phrasing from Swami Nityananda, we will always be able to choose to be guided to joy and service in action. So when we look at the one, we will always be able to choose to be guided to joy and service in action. And so this is an answer to a human dilemma posed by Howard Thurman and Olive Schreiner, which I'm quite sure you might have observed before. And it's that human dilemma of how do I keep my heart open in relation to the news of the world, and yet not be overwhelmed, so that I find myself able to act in wisdom and in joy. And so one of the stories shared by Howard Thurman, and please remember, incredible man, devoting his entire life to service, totally in love with the divine and the teachings of truth. That's the one who tells this story that I'm about to tell you. He said he got up one morning, turned on the radio, listened to the news. This was a while ago, so it wasn't the same news, and yet it kind of is the same news. He said, I was listening to hundreds of people were dying in this particular war zone. He said, I realized I was feeling nothing. I realized I was feeling nothing. I heard about hundreds of people dying from this disease. I realized I was feeling nothing. I heard about all of these people killed in a rampage. I realized I was feeling nothing. And so he asked, and this was the question that he asked, it was a question from his heart. How can I be here and not be hard-hearted? That's the question. And where he ended that particular talk was by asking the divine. He said, the divine will show me how to be here. He often referred to the divine as the Father. So he says, the Father will show me how to be here and not be hard-hearted, so that I can somehow be able to be present with that news about this war and the hundreds of people dying, and I can manage to be open-hearted. I can somehow hear about the people, hundreds of them dying from this particular disease, and I can manage to be open-hearted. And I can hear about these numbers of people killed in this rampage, and I can manage to be open-hearted. And the divine will show me how to be open-hearted. And so I'm just giving everyone an opportunity to check in and just ask, have you ever felt that? When you listen to the news and there's like rueful, honest laughter in this room. So agreement that sometimes as a way of functioning in time and space, we sort of close ourselves off from that particular armed conflict or that particular disease or that particular rampage which took those particular lives. And so hard-heartedness, which he names, he says, please, Divine Grace, Lord, Father, Don't let me be divine. Don't let me be this hard-hearted being. Show me how. Show me how to keep my heart open. And so that's sort of one end of the dilemma. The other end of the dilemma, I was talking to a young person recently, a young person who's training to be a counselor, and I said to this young person, you're going to be an amazing counselor. You have so much empathy. And she sort of got these tears in her eyes, and she says, sometimes I have too much empathy. And I said, oh, so you get empathy overload sometimes? And she said, yeah. And so that's the other extreme. And so how do we remain not hard-hearted, but also not dissolving into tears so that we also are paralyzed? And so just kind of notice, either one paralyzes us. If we're hard-hearted and we're not allowing ourselves to feel anything, then we're paralyzed and we're not going to be acting. But also if we're a puddle of empathetic tears and we're not capable of action, we're also not very much help. And so that's this basic question, is how do we remain strong and open-hearted? How do we maintain robust love with wisdom and joy in time and space? And so a couple of teachings here. One comes from Mother Teresa. She says, if I look at the mass, I will never act. If I look at the one, I will. And so that's look at the one. So when you see the one, you see the one person and you see, I can do that. I can reach out a helpful hand. I can reach out a hopeful smile. I can be the energy of kindness to this one person. That enables me to act. That frees me. That allows me to act. And so I'm actually inviting you to tune in to what it feels like to look at the one. To look at the one person in your life. And this is very practically, how do I put into action being the energy of love to the people around me? So they're not far away. This doesn't mean that you have to go elsewhere. It's right here. It's already there. It's already present in your awareness. You already know this. These are beings that you encounter. And so just tune in energetically and just notice, how does it feel if I allow myself to be open-hearted, but also strong and wise and clear, so I'm not dissolving into a pool of empathy that also prevents me from acting? How does it feel to be strong, wise love in action, reaching through me to help the one of whom I am aware? And just notice how that feels. And actually notice in your body, how does it feel when you are open-hearted, but also strong and wise and calm and clear. And then see if you can actually feel in consciousness. And this is possible because linear time exists thanks to the human mind. So right now, let's suspend linear time and connect again with how you feel when you are open-hearted, strong, calm, clear, and wise. And you allow pure love, disinterested, non-attached love, not looking for a particular response or a particular outcome, just allowing pure love, pure light to share through you with the one who is in your awareness. Notice how that feels. And now, thanks to the suspension of linear time, allow yourself to feel the effects that go on beyond that moment. Allow yourself to notice it is never possible to help only one person. You might think you're only helping one person. The effects radiate out to hundreds of other people. And just see if you can start to feel those ripple effects of joy and love and kindness and caring and healing and respect and possibility that come into motion, that come into play in the field of consciousness. Every single time we choose to look at the one, and we choose neither to be hard-hearted nor to dissolve into tears of empathy that prevent us from acting, but instead we claim strength of soul, which is absolutely one with limitless love, boundless light, and is able with wisdom and calm to be of service in joy and in freedom. Notice how that feels. And notice what becomes possible. And notice how you feel. Notice how fully alive and free each of us feels when we live and move and breathe and have our being in this particular way. So I invite you to keep your eyes closed. I'm going to blink mine open to share a couple of more teachings. The Bhagavad Gita says to each of us, so this is the voice of truth, the voice of wisdom, without the performance of action, none can attain tranquility and wisdom. That's from chapter 3. Without the performance of action, none can attain tranquility and wisdom. And so this is a teaching that reminds us we are going to be acting. Let our actions be in the direction of tranquility and wisdom. Another way to put this into motion in daily life is to ask, am I acting in the spirit, in the energy of the awareness of tranquility and wisdom? So again, just to ask yourself that question, am I acting in tranquility and wisdom? Even if I humanly don't always feel tranquil and wise, you won't. Okay? Spoiler alert, you won't. It's not going to happen. So even when, we'll just say it that way, even when you don't feel tranquil and wise, it's possible to connect with the energy and the intention of tranquility and wisdom, and to ask the tranquility and wisdom of your soul, the tranquility and wisdom that is the light of 10,000 suns, the tranquility and wisdom that is limitless love, to act through you, even when you don't feel tranquil and wise. And just notice what happens. Notice. Notice with appreciation. And so notice what happens as well. That energy of tranquility and wisdom, the more we make ourselves available to it, the more it shares through us, the more it will also share with us. So we cannot share the energy of pure love, the energy of light, the energy of tranquility and wisdom with others without also receiving that same energy. And again, we're not looking for a one-to-one response. We're not looking for the one with whom we are sharing that energy of tranquility and wisdom or love and light and kindness to directly give that back to us. The universe will arrange the exact perfect return. We will be filled to overflowing with tranquility and wisdom beyond measure, with boundless love and strength and joy and light and kindness. The Bhagavad Gita, again from chapter 3, says, no one can exist even for a moment without performing action. The energy patterns born of nature force all to incessant activity. And so this is just to let you know, as long as you are here in the body, energy patterns are here as well. And so action will be here as well. And so we are training ourselves and making ourselves available to that which is larger than human energy patterns. So, expansive awareness, robust love, open-hearted strength is able to share through us in ways that are freeing and joyful and uplifting and healing. And that energy of freedom and upliftment and joy and healing cannot share through us without also sharing with us. The Bhagavad Gita says as well, again, sort of from a human perspective, this is going to continue to seem impossible. That's okay. Just play with it. Attaining perfect control over your senses by the power of mind. Perform all objective actions, yet remain unattached. Okay, so just taking a poll, who feels like they have perfect control over their senses? Not seeing any hands going up here, except in humor and fun and love and playfulness. And so this is be patient and good-humored with your human self. The verse just before this just told us human energy patterns are going to be here as long as a human is going to be here, right? And the next verse says, attain perfect control over your senses. And so one way to do this is let all of your senses be filled with light. Let all of your senses be filled with love. Let all of your senses be filled with kindness. Another way to put this is offer all of your senses to the divine. So to the divine, let your light look out through me so that the only energy that looks out through me is the one looking out through me. And let it be that when I look, the only thing I see is the one. And that will bring you into perfect control over your senses because the divine will be doing it through you. And human energy patterns are sort of melted because the divine is able to broadcast through you independent of human energy patterns being there. So the next piece of advice from the Bhagavad Gita says, perform all objective actions, yet remain unattached. And so let's just feel our way into this for a second, and then I'm going to invite us to meditate a little bit more. Perform all objective actions, yet remain unattached. So Swami Vivekananda once said that he would walk 20 miles on his knees in order to see a human who was non-attached. So Swami Vivekananda is suggesting this might be rare in human embodiment. And let's ask the divine to do this. Let's ask the divine to be able to be non-attached through us. And so let's practice. Let's see what this feels like. I think we all know what attachment feels like, right? But I'll just remind us. That's that kind of frustration, right? Like you feel like things have to happen in this particular way, and if they don't, well, there's just something wrong with the universe. That feeling. It's not very fun. And so it leads to a feeling of constriction. It leads to a feeling of impatience. It leads to a feeling of judgment of yourself and others. And it leads to a feeling of being at odds with the laws of energy. So being at odds with the laws of energy, have you ever seen like an amazing waterfall? Being at odds with the laws of energy is like trying to stop the waterfall from being the waterfall. We all know that's not super possible. It's like trying to stop the waterfall with a thimble and then being mad because your thimble doesn't have the carrying capacity to stop the waterfall, right? And so what we're inviting ourselves to do, and let's play with this and have a sense of humor with this, notice where attachments are. So attachments are present wherever fear is present. Attachments are present wherever frustration is present. Attachments are present wherever judgment of ourselves or others are present. attachments are present, wherever resentment or resistance are present. And so just having given ourselves that reminder, just pick one, pick one that you want to transform, and invite it into the palm of your hands. And this is working with that metaphor of, it's as if we have a thimble and we're trying to stop the laws of energy, we're trying to stop the waterfall using our thimble. And so instead what we're doing is consciously inviting our attachment to reveal itself to us and to be present in the light of 10,000 suns. And notice what happens if we invite our attachment to be present to us in the light of 10,000 suns. Where did the attachment go? What happened to it? If we invite fear to be present to us in the light of 10,000 suns, what happens to fear? If we invite frustration to be present to us in the light of 10,000 suns, what happens to frustration? So silently choose one more that you would love to transform and invite it to be present in the light of 10,000 suns. And notice what happens. And so giving ourselves the gift of just 2 more elements for this meditation before we close. First, look at yourself with the light of 10,000 suns. Just allow yourself to see yourself. In the light of 10,000 suns. Allow yourself to be yourself in the light of 10,000 suns. And second, keep your eyes closed, but notice what's possible when we join consciously together in the light of 10,000 suns. And so I'll share a story. I saw this video earlier this week of turtles. So the turtles are in the water, and there's a bunch of them. And at first, you can just see that there's one turtle, and it's madly spinning. It's spinning in circles. It's just flapping madly, spinning in circles. And then the camera kind of zooms in, and you realize that that turtle is on its back. So somehow it's gotten flipped onto its back and it can't flip itself back over. And so it's madly spinning in circles. The other turtles around it become aware of its plight and they immediately swim to that turtle that is flailing in circles. And they surround it. They form a circle around this turtle that is in distress. And their bodies form a raft that allows the turtle who is in distress to right itself. This is what we can do for one another. It still takes self-effort. The one who is flailing in distress, self-effort is required for that one also, and we can make of ourselves a raft of support that helps those who are feeling like they are upside down right themselves. And so connecting with the light of 10,000 suns in yourself, reach out in consciousness, the way those turtles swam together into a circle, move into a circle with everyone meditating right now. And allow the light of 10,000 suns in you to connect with the light of 10,000 suns in everyone else. It works so immediately that I had to pause, or I would have dissolved into tears of joy. And so just allow yourself to feel the limitless joy and the limitless love that is possible when we connect with the light of 10,000 suns individually and collectively. And now magnify and amplify that energy, that light of 10,000 suns. And first, allow yourself to receive that magnified, amplified light of 10,000 suns, consciously sharing it with yourself and consciously sharing it with everyone else who is currently meditating. And then second, radiate that magnified, amplified light of 10,000 suns so that it reaches around the planet. And it gives the energy of open-heartedness and strength. It gives the energy of joy. It gives the energy of boundless love. It gives the energy of wisdom. It gives the ability to right ourselves and to be supportive as others right themselves. And notice with appreciation how this feels in your body and in your energy field. And then as we close, give permission to this light of 10,000 suns to live in you and through you and as you. And actually feel your feet on the earth. Press the palms of your hands together. Feel yourself in your human body. And know that this life you are living is the light of 10,000 suns, inseparably united with you, living with you, and also through you, and also as you. So when you look at the one, you are only ever looking at yourself. When you help the one you can help, you are only ever helping yourself. When you share the light and the strength of pure love, you are only ever sharing the light and the strength of pure love with yourself. Thank God, and God bless us all.